Good day to everyone. Welcome to my field-based project presentation regarding to Professional Instructional Approve, a meta-analysis of branded learning practice in Malaysia higher education. Let me introduce myself. My name is Chaman Seong, come from School of Management, University Science Malaysia, and Associate Professor Dr. Siti Rohaida is my supervisor for this project. Before we go in deep of the topic, let me introduce some overview. Malaysia higher education has experienced a technological advancement resulting in the emergence of unprecedented opportunity as well as swift expedition. One of the examples, such as COVID-19 pandemic, technology learning proved to be most significant medium to safeguard all learners in the education system while offering an alternative didactic method. In order to continually evolve in education paradigm, the branded learning practice is expanded as the combined traditional classroom instruction and ICT to facilitate student education, and this practice will be discussed further in this presentation. As diagram show, there are three main aspects in branded learning practice. First is face-to-face learning, second is online learning, and third is technology. Three aspects integrate will become the branded learning practice that implemented in Malaysia higher education. Even though much previous research has focused on conventional and online instructional practice, there is a scarcity of study on branded learning practice in Malaysia higher education institution. Furthermore, the aspect pertaining to the branded learning design process as a professional teaching approach in the future is limited. Therefore, this study is used to narrow down the gap. There are four different types of objectives of research study. First, to determine the advantage and disadvantage of branded learning practice in Malaysia higher education. Second, to analyze the main theme of study related to branded learning practice in Malaysia higher education. Third, to examine the main findings from the study related to branded learning practice in Malaysia higher education. And lastly, to develop the branded learning design process in Malaysia higher education as a professional teaching approach in the future. Wow, there are several literature reviews can be discussed in this session. As globalization and technological advancement has completely reshaped the Malaysia education institution, it can be achieved by concentrating on developing ICT to accommodate students prescribed to have a more individualized educational experience. Several research reveal that technology-based learning can significantly enhance the overall education quality in Malaysia higher education system to fit for the 21st century. From the literature review of branded learning in Malaysia higher education context, researchers conclude that it is an inevitable trend in the modern educational paradigm that gains widespread acceptance in various educational settings. And lastly, identify the branded learning design process is required for educators or lecturers, especially the FACTS, to implement in the future. In this session, we will discuss about the methodology adopted in this field-based project. Meta-analysis can be defined as a process of systematically gathering, evaluating, and synthesizing the research findings conducted across various studies into a single conclusion. There are 6 steps. First step, define and review question eligibility criteria. Second, searching for relevant study. Third, selecting for the relevant study. Fourth, data extraction. Fifth, data synthesis. And lastly, interpreting of the result. As shown in the diagram, the research flowchart is a procedure that we implement for this field-based project. From start to end is very crucial phase that need to be taken concern to produce a valid conclusions. In order to achieve the research objective 1, the advantages and disadvantages of branded learning practice in Malaysia higher education could be summarized at this session. First, increased flexibility and efficiency can be concluded that students can comprehend the online material and value the adaptability offered by the flexible educational scheduling process. Besides, personalized learning also allows students to study at their own schedule and in the convenience of their individual setting. Several disadvantages also can be recognized as roles in classroom community. It causes a lack of feedback from the peer, lack of feedback from the instructor, lack of feedback from the others throughout the branded learning practice. Furthermore, unstable internet connection and lack of technological educational infrastructure could be recognized as the most significant barrier to the successful implementation of blended learning practice in Malaysia higher education. Furthermore, in order to achieve the objective 2 and 3, the main theme and finding of the study related to blended learning practice in Malaysia higher education institution can be summarized there. The overall finding conclude that the students are more satisfied with the blended learning practice if they perceive it is effective and provide them with additional advantage throughout the educational process. To cope with rapid development in Malaysia education system, Podium model will be proposed for this study as a professional teaching approach in the future. Let me explain the overview of this podium model. In the process of instructional design decision, the blended learning design process that can largely assist educators in specifying the aspect of the curriculum and creating a sustainable foundation integrated with technology. There are total 6 steps in this blended learning design process. First, planning. Second, organizing. Third, designing. Fourth, implementing. Fifth, evaluating. And lastly, revising. Let me explain more detail about this model. Planning. The planning step is the first phase to identify and develop blended instructional requirements including potential alternative, technical evaluation, and behavioral flexibility. Second, organize the instruction and learning procession when constructing a blended learning design process throughout the student feedback. Third, designing phase of the blended learning process symbolizes the idea and the significance of developed Malaysia higher education system, which must be related to technological aspect as necessary as the pedagogical dimension. Once the design phase has complete, the implementation phase can deploy and test a new design of blended instructional plan in Malaysia higher education environment. The new blended instructional design can apply to a small sample of Malaysia higher education in order to examine their effectiveness and adaptability regarding to overall educational knowledge delivery. Fifth, evaluating the blended instructional design should always start with collect feedback from students through informal or formal questionnaire on disparate aspects of educational setting that provide a systematic method to study a program, practice, intervention, or initiative to understand how well it achieved its goal. And last but not least, the blended instructional process can begin all over again to include all of the adjustments received from evaluating phase that has been made to strengthen the course in preparations for the next student intake. In conclusion, we can summarize that the advantage of blended learning practice were regarded as high flexibility and efficiency personalized learning. In contrast, the loss of classroom community and deficit of technological education infrastructure represent as the disadvantages of blended learning practice in Malaysia higher education institution. Besides, the study successfully discovered 3 themes with 7 sub-themes, which conclude that students are more satisfied with blended learning practice when they feel that it's beneficial and useful to them. And then, last but not least, the blended learning design process in Malaysia higher education as a professional teaching model in the future was proposed. It's used to assist educators or lecturers in specifying their curriculum aspect and creating a sustainable foundation integrated with technology in the future. Last but not least, this session will discuss about the limitation and recommendation for this field-based project. Most of the past research target was most focused on undergraduate students than others. Therefore, future study recommend in more foundation, diploma, postgrad students to redefine the blended learning as a teaching practice. Besides, the research was conducted by using the meta-analysis with only Google Scholar. Therefore, future meta-analysis for blended learning study should also consider more than one database such as ScienceDirect and Pubron. Lastly, inconsistent results and bias could be occur using meta-analysis. As a result, this research suggests that the future study can use a quantitative approach to collect preliminary data by using self-admitted questionnaire to attempt a more comprehensive and conclusive result. Thank you to all of you spending your time to listen my field-based project presentation, and this session will be the end, and thank you.